All right, let's get right into it. Back in June 2026, Clash of Clans dropped the highly anticipated Anime Fury update. But instead of universal hype, it basically ignited a massive divide right down the middle of the player community. So for this explainer, we are going to unpack exactly what went right, what went horribly wrong, and why a huge chunk of the player base is feeling so incredibly conflicted about the current state of the game.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at the Anime Fury arrival, break down the aesthetic hits and misses, dive into the hero's journey friction, examine the bugs and crashes, and wrap up with the growing issue of update fatigue. Section 1. The Anime Fury arrival. On paper, this update was absolutely stacked, bringing in fresh temporary troops like the mass Mecha and the Broom to really shake up base attacks.
But the reality hit a little differently. We immediately saw a super sharp divide. On one hand, you had genuine aesthetic praise. Players were absolutely loving the new visual content. But on the other hand, that love crashed right into intense functional frustration over technical instability and the brand new progression systems. It's a classic, textbook clash of form versus function.
Moving on to Section 2, Aesthetics, Hits and Misses. Let's start with the visual overhaul, highlighted by that massively popular XL scenery.
The XL scenery was a total hit, no doubt, especially with those vibrant colors and that crazy new zoom capability. But, and there's always a but, right? The overall art direction was definitely a mixed bag. People really appreciated the high-effort animations on the new skins, but a lot of players felt the theme leaned way more into mythological or generic fantasy rather than actual anime. Plus, the background music just didn't really fit the vibe players were expecting. And of course, we saw some highly contentious debates blow up over character designs and perceived censorship. Now, we're not here to take sides on that front, but it is super important to note how entirely it dominated the community forums. It just goes to show how deeply passionate this player base is about thematic consistency.
Which brings us to Section 3, the hero journey friction, shifting gears from subjective art to actual mechanical gameplay.
And the absolute biggest pain point here comes down to one single number, 24. Players are incredibly frustrated by the strict 24-hour expiration window on claiming and using hero journey rewards. Just imagine earning a massive, hard-fought haul of resources only to be told you're going to lose it completely if you don't spend it in a single day. For a game that is literally built from the ground up on long-term strategy, that time frame feels insanely restrictive.
Because that window essentially forces you into rushed, suboptimal upgrades instead of strategic hoarding. The community had to figure out a workaround fast. The #1 tip floating around the Reddit megathreads? Just avoid claiming the rewards entirely. Seriously, just leave them sitting there in the hero journey until the exact second you are ready to use them. It's a functional fix, sure, but it totally kills the momentum and the fun of unlocking something new.
And it gets worse if you've been playing for a while. Take a look at this quote from a veteran player. Veterans feel they are missing out on significant value that lower-level players receive, leading to a feeling of being left behind despite their years of investment. The new ore economy just heavily favors new or returning players. If you've already grinded for years to max out your heroes, this new setup gives you practically nothing, leaving the game's most dedicated fans feeling totally neglected.
Let's look at Section 4, Bugs and Technical Crashes. Because honestly, the progression choices weren't the only things breaking down here.
The single most prominent, game-breaking bug the community reported was a hard crash. The exact second a player attempted to access the Hero Hall interface, boom, the app closed, and you were staring at your phone's home screen. Think about that for a second. An update entirely centered around heroes and the hero journey, and you literally can't even open the menu without the game dying.
But, the community did what they always do. They banded together to hack a solution. The makeshift steps circulating online were wild. Step 1, wait a few minutes for the assets to load in the background. Step 2, go do a multiplayer war attack first. Or Step 3, just avoid the hall completely. It's amazing to see players problem solve like this, but having to do a literal digital rain dance just to open a basic menu, that is a huge problem.
Oh, and the bugs did not stop at crashes. Players were logging in to find their epic equipment items completely missing. There were baffling inconsistencies with automatic level upgrades and just a widespread dissatisfaction with how clunky the new UI menus felt. Fixing this wasn't easy either. Players were manually clearing their Android app caches or submitting support tickets, just begging Supercell to trigger an investigation and give them their missing gear back. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Update Fatigue. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture impact of all this.
It all boils down to this totally tragic love-hate relationship.
The sentiment here is clear. Players express that they really want to love the update, but they are actively being pushed away by unfriendly progression changes and the buggy release state. People want to use the Broom Witch. They want to enjoy the beautiful scenery, but the game's actual functional state is literally fighting them every step of the way.
And that right there is the textbook definition of update fatigue. It is a complete loss of patience with the development team's quality control strictly because recent updates keep dropping with major technical hurdles. It's not just this one Anime Fury update in a vacuum, right? It's the compounding weight of multiple updates launching in a broken state, requiring players to become beta testers and troubleshooters just to play the game they love.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this final question to chew on regarding the future of live service updates. Is the rush for aesthetic content compromising functional gameplay? When stunning visuals come at the direct cost of hard crashes, vanishing items, and punishing progression loops, we really have to ask what the true priority is. Can a game survive on incredible art alone if the menus simply don't work? Thanks for hanging out with me on this deep dive into the Anime Fury divide, and I will catch you on the next explainer.
For more glory.